podcast. I'm Emre.
And I am Tom.
Welcome back this week. We'll be talking about culture clashes.
Culture clashes.
Indeed. But first we'll talk about what you can do during the week. This week, of course, you can go on the ice rink.
But we said that last week.
Did we say that last week?
Last week, 2 weeks ago when we did
Did we do that already? I thought we didn't mention it.
it's still there, so
okay, look, you can still go to the ice rink anyway.
If you haven't enjoyed yourself on the ice rink.
And you can go have a Christmas dinner with your friends. And you can go home because it's Christmas break.
This is the worst time to do it for the week.
Yeah, well, we didn't have a lot of time to prepare this episode, so...
There's individual faculty parties. I don't know about you guys, but we have one at BK on Thursday.
Yeah, true.
I'm going home, so I'm fucking off way before this.
Okay.
But everyone's in the Christmas spirit.
Christmas is the theme of this week.
What, 9 days away?
Yeah, exactly.
It's coming up.
All right. Well, let's move on from this worst what you can do during the week so far. Let's move on to our main topic. And for this, we welcome our first guest. His name is Pranav. He's our friend.
Pranav.
Hey everyone.
Welcome to the pod.
It's really nice to be here. So I'm really glad to see what we can talk about today.
Bring yourself closer to the mic, right?
Yeah,
like properly close.
Yeah, you can also, also move the mic a little bit.
Listeners, bear with me because this is the first time.
Well, actually, I beg to differ. You've done this before, right?
Yeah, we did a small private podcast once.
Podcast. If we get enough listeners on this, I guess we'll publish it out. Give them
special. Love it.
One day maybe.
Okay.
Anyway, today our topic is culture clashes. And so where are you from, Pranav?
So originally I'm from India, from the south of India, from a place called Bangalore. And it's where I was born and I was raised. So I spent 18 years of my life there. And then here I am
moved to the Netherlands. Yeah. Okay, so do you remember your first day in the Netherlands? Do you remember the first time? Or is it so far? Because you now live here for 4 years now.
With all your luggage.
Yeah.
Actually, surprisingly, I do remember my first day. It was on the hunt to find housing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a struggle.
Talk about all that. Okay, listeners would listen to our last episode, which was on housing.
And I remember reading a lot of warnings about it, so I was really skeptical about what I can do. But it was really nice. Delft, as such, is a really nice place to see when you're first here. You see all these canals, and you really struck.
Did you? So you didn't have any house when you got here?
Well, university said that I would get a house from Duo.
Yeah. But
they also said you have to be there in person by this time to confirm the registration. Because I guess there are so many people who want houses and...
and you're from the other side of the world.
Yeah, so. And exactly. I wasn't going to live on the streets the first night I spent in the Netherlands ever.
Yeah. And so when you got here, what were the immediate first things that you thought were like the biggest differences to India? Because I mean the Netherlands is quite different to India, no?
Yeah, I guess so my only comparison is with India, and as far as it goes in India, it's so much more chaotic. There's so much more happening every second in terms of just transportation and people moving around, and just because of the numbers.
Yeah.
And here in the Netherlands, there's just so much more consideration for other people. You know, something
it's more structured.
Yes, exactly. People take it for granted that if you stand by the road, you'll have some car guy who actually completely stops to zero to let you cross. You know, that's unheard of.
Except from the bikes, though.
Yeah.
They'll run you over.
Yeah.
True.
Fair enough. I mean, there are so many bikes. If you stand there waiting for all the bikes to go, you're just standing there for the rest of your life, I guess.
True.
And when did you get your first bike?
I actually got my first bike a few days after, but I did not know about the pricing of bikes here. So I actually walked in to literally the most fanciest bike store that Delft could have. Yeah. And I told that guy that I would like a new first-hand bike with gears for like 50 euros. And he literally laughed me out of the store. He saw I was a newbie.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Nice. So how much did you spend though on your first bike?
I think actually about 100 euros. But
okay, that's good.
Because I think it's an investment here, you know. You having a good bike and a bike that doesn't break down actually in the long run saves you so much more money if you don't have to get it fixed all the time.
True.
And it's so important just to get around.
Yeah, my bike broke, by the way, so I'm without without a bike right now. It's tragic. It's really tragic. Once your bike breaks down, sorry. But anyway, let's talk about.
Have you got it fixed?
Not yet.
And once your bike breaks down, you lose entire timeline of transportation as to how long it takes for you to go from point A to point B.
It takes to walk from A to B.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's get back to culture because we did this in our bike episode already. But yeah, let's talk about maybe some of the misunderstandings you had when you first came here, because obviously, like, the Dutch culture is quite different. So and I think when you come from one culture to another, then there can be like misunderstandings or like surprises and stuff. So what was like?
I think misunderstandings are something that emerge between any culture. So let alone India, but if you're from any place and you come to a new place, you're bound to have made certain assumptions before you're there, and then you realize these assumptions maybe are wrong, or and you have to learn about this. Is a whole process where you talk to people, you learn about what's there, what's not there. And I mean, I had people ask me if you get chocolate sauce back in India, and I was like, what do you mean? We have 1.3 billion people. You think someone didn't realize they need chocolate sauce? And so, but I understand that these questions are actually sometimes just out of curiosity. They're not there to mock, but they're just trying to learn what's different, what's not European, so what exists outside.
True.
What else do you get? That's quite funny.
And a lot of head bobble jokes. And a lot of questions as to how I should fix computers. Just because apparently Indians should just be able to fix computers, even if they have no idea. That's what it takes.
This is the stereotypes, no?
It is, and the call center stereotype, of course, that if someone calls, then they're talking to my relative.
That's bad.
Yeah, man, it's hard sometimes.
I'd be punching so many people if I was you.
Yeah, we should work on that.
Like, for instance, whenever anyone says, you must like tea because you're British. Not every British person likes tea.
Should you like tea, Tom?
I love tea.
Anyway, but did you also have like things about the Dutch people where you were like I don't understand how or why you're doing this, or like you were surprised by things that the Dutch people did? Like, were some things like that?
Something that surprised me a lot, I guess, was their habits of eating sandwiches and uncooked meals, basically, and not in a way that's sad or something, but they just usually eat 2 uncooked meals a day. And back in India, that's unheard of. You need to have your breakfast that's been cooked for like an hour and a half.
Do you have a warm deal, like a hot meal for breakfast?
Yeah, a hot meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Always.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I think back in India, it's more tailored to how it tastes, but here it's more tailored to its proteins and nutritional value and everything. Okay, here it's not hot meals, but it's still really healthy meals because it's all this cheese and meat.
Yeah. What about do you reckon the Dutch people are quite blunt, straight to the point?
Did you have any like misunderstandings, or like were you like shocked by how like honest they are sometimes?
Not directly. So let's say it's not something that you come in and you're like, oh, this was my experience where Dutch people are like straightforward. It's something I felt like you learn eventually, because you get used to certain people talking to you a certain way and you responding a certain way. And the moment you put yourself outside the Netherlands, you say things that appear normal to you, but to someone else, they're like, why are you so frank? Why are you so honest and straightforward? And in your mind, it's okay because it's how the people are around you, and it's a more realization, like self.
So you picked up some of the Dutch frankness just by being around Dutch people.
Yes, exactly. And you don't do it intentionally. You just are involved in so much conversation that you pick up the way they talk. And I think at the end of the day, it's just better because when a Dutch person says something, they're not bullshitting around, They're really to the point and they're saying it because they want to say it.
How it is.
Yeah. So So I think
Yeah.
that's actually appreciated at the end of the day.
I thought it was just sarcasm at first. It's not even sarcasm. It's
It's
just
easy to be misinterpreted.
Yeah, true. So did you have like a learning curve when you came here at first? Like, did it take you a while to get accustomed to the new culture?
Yeah, for example, when compared to India, people drive on the other side of the road here. So I was always driving my bike on the wrong side. Yeah, and other things are just carrying yourself. It's hard to explain, but there is so much change in just your everyday activities of going to the supermarket, doing things that you need to change because of a new location. And these changes might not be apparent directly, but over the period you'll realize the way you do certain things just have morphed into something else because adapted.
For you also, I mean, you moved out of your house as well.
Yeah, it was the
your
first time.
parents, so like, there's also another
Yeah.
dimension to that as well.
Yeah,
Which
and
makes it extra difficult, I guess, because I remember like in the beginning also like
it's really hard to
Yeah,
go
like
from
getting-
living with
yeah.
parents to
when you have your mom take care of you for and then you have to learn to stand on your own feet.
you suddenly learn just putting clothes in a bag, don't get them clean. Like somewhere else from the bag to something else. I never knew.
you are the middleman.
So it's all these nice realizations that also make you feel like grown up. You know, you feel like you're in a university.
Yeah.
Did you have anyone like tell you, give you advice, or anyone have help you along to get like adjusted to this new life, or?
Yeah, I would actually try to talk to as many people as I can the moment they said that they've been here for a while. Just talk to them to try to understand, which is the best way to get around. And
You're a pretty sociable guy, so.
I think, I do enjoy talking to people.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think it's
Being a coach for IP Week helps a lot.
being a coach, and I think a lot of people had some negative comments about it, but I think it was
About
actually
your coaching or
no about being a coach
definitely
in
not
general. No, not my coaching, man. I'm bonded with my groups, by the way. If any of you listeners want to No, I bonded with my group thanks to Emre and Tom, basically, because they had good parties that we all came to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
But yeah, people would say, you said that people didn't like being a coach, or?
Yeah, I think people didn't like being a coach because sometimes you end up getting groups that are just not as receptive
Yeah.
as
I
you
guess
would
it's
want them
also
to be.
the job of the coach, right? To
Yeah,
get them out of
it's
the
not easy to make sure you have the attention of like 14 people who all have smartphones and Wi-Fi for the whole day and then for a whole week. Not just one day, but for the whole week. And at some point, they're gonna want to stop listening to you, and not in a way that they're just gonna be rude, but just in a way that they don't care. And you need to change that because you need them to like learn certain things.
Yeah.
You say IP week, but at the end of the day, the coaches all know that university wants these kids to know certain things about the university.
True.
So we have to put
Did
it
you
across.
did you have a good experience when you like came?
Yeah,
Like the AP?
one of the reasons I wanted to be a coach and hopefully a good coach was because I had a really good introduction week, and I think for most students it's basically the first week or close to the first week that they're ever in Delft. And I think it's really important to give a good start,
Yeah.
when you have the start of the semester, you get into the semester, you're going through piles of shit before you even know it. So I think having a good initiation really helps with the energy and knowing people.
This year's was really good. Like the weather was perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the university also go to quite an extent to
Make sure it's
and make sure there are no culture clashes, because you have every introduction program group has people from all over the world, and
All over the world.
and the university tries to make sure that you have people from different places in one group, so you have more interaction.
yeah.
And this also, I guess, occasionally leads to times when some people are more comfortable doing something and some are not. And
Because they're from different cultures.
and for example, I saw it with myself. I'm Asian, so I guess I get to talk about Asians. And it's just harder to reach out to them. They're just not intentionally, but they tend to be more conserved people. And the moment someone's conserved, you have to work even harder to
Get them out of the shell.
get them out of it. And the moment they see
bingo.
that they're in an environment that's completely different culture, they're going to want to keep to themselves even more, because they want to protect what they're from and where they're standing from.
True.
It's true.
Do you have any advice that you would give to your past self coming to
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, because you were, talking about how other people helped you by just talking to them. Do you?
I think a lot of people scare you that university is really hard and so on and so forth, but I think at the end of the day it's just balance. It's I think this place is a good enough environment that say yes, you have to work, but they also genuinely give you the space to do anything else that you want to do. And as they say on the podcast, there's so much to do every week here. And so many times it's...
We may have to re-record the first bit again. We didn't really do it justice this week. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You can do it. You can really do anything.
Yeah.
If as long as you don't stress too much about work life.
Well, yeah, but it's important to keep it balanced. I think a lot of students get it out of hand and then complain at the end of the quarter saying it's too much work, but it's also because they just didn't do anything for 2.5 months. So what do you expect? It's bound to happen.
Is there anything about like the Dutch culture that you, when you first came here, maybe didn't see or didn't appreciate, and then like after a while you were like, oh, like is there something that grew on you that maybe in the beginning seemed a bit strange?
I guess not. Maybe in terms of people, it's harder to point out, but I think the standard of living, the way of life, the conveniences you have just as a person living here in this country is amazing. For example, their transportation system, yes, they have blocks and so on sometimes, but so does every other transportation system in the world. But other than that, it's really convenient and you have so many facilities. You have no mountains, but you can still ski indoors. So they try. They really try with what they want people to do. And they work on the parks and all these other activities, so trying to keep... And it goes a long way in showing that the population is happy. I think I read a year ago that the Dutch population grew by 16% in general welfare and happiness, and that says a lot about what this country tries to offer as a place.
Yeah.
So there might be some culture clashes in the beginning, but overall it was a good experience.
Overall, this place is accommodating. I think the Dutch culture exists, but they're also nice to accommodate other cultures, and that's really important. Yeah.
Do you feel Dutch?
I feel Dutch in the way I behave, let's say, but I think maybe personally for me it's not been long enough to change my roots. Yes, but genuinely with the way I behave, the way I would probably react to certain situations, I feel quite...
Have you become more pragmatic?
Yeah, exactly. Become more frank, in the conversation. And
you go back home and all your friends are like, what happened to you?
I'm okay with eating not hot meals. That's unheard of back at home for me.
What do you have for breakfast then?
Yeah, just sandwiches, man. Can you believe it? I became that guy. People here carry a loaf of bread around and make their own sandwiches on the go. And I think it's a certain level. When you end up with a loaf of bread in your bag and peanut butter jar, it's over.
You become full Dutch.
You become full Dutch. It's happened.
Amazing.
The what is it? Kaasboter?
I mean pindakaas.
The pindakaas.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
I still haven't had that yet. I haven't given in.
Like just a peanut butter sandwich?
No.
Oh man, it's brilliant.
The one where it's like, I had a peanut butter sandwich, but not with the chocolate and the
that
wine.
with the hagelslag, the sprinkles,
hard.
with the sprinkles, right?
Yeah. I haven't had that yet.
Yeah.
I've tried it. It's...
I think you have this...
The chocolate sprinkles.
I mean, look,
they have chocolate sprinkles on everything.
Yeah. I think this peanut butter sauce situation is everywhere. You get it with bread, with fried chicken, with rice, with
fries as well.
Yeah, with fries as well. Like on 2 days ago with fries. I was,
Do you have a favorite Dutch food that you got to love that you, or like one of the?
I think cheese croquette.
Oh yeah. True.
Bitterballen.
Bitterballen,
yeah. Also really good.
Classic Dutch.
Yeah, don't have a lot of options, I guess. Other than the sandwiches and the... Yeah, they have good milk products, so their cheese. And can't deny their cheese.
The dairy.
Yeah, can't deny.
Lots of cheese. Yeah.
And like other than some stereotypes, like that some people maybe had that some people might consider racist. Did you experience any racism or any hostility when you came here, or?
No, I think I'm actually really glad that I didn't actually experience anything bad, but I also think in general it's really rare for someone
Yeah, I
to
think
experience.
generally in Delft maybe it's very rare.
Yeah, especially if
Yeah,
it's
because
rare in the
it's
Netherlands,
there's
definitely it's
concentrated.
extremely rare. It's probably unheard of in Delft. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost impossible for you to be racist in Delft. You turn around and you're gonna have people from everywhere all
Yeah,
across the
true.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people in the Netherlands are generally quite nice as well.
Yeah.
I haven't really come across anyone that's.
Yeah, I think it's as you said, like a
Nice.
very accommodating culture and very welcoming to international people.
Yeah, and I think partly it's because the Dutch themselves are so confident about who they are as people. So they say, I think the problem with most countries is that they say, okay, you have all these new people coming in and we're losing their own culture because of this new infiltration of culture. But I think here, the Dutch, in all honesty, are just so solid about who they are as people
don't
that
feel
they
like
say, yeah,
insecurity.
okay, you're coming in, but you can do what you want, and I'm still Dutch, which is the most important thing.
That's very true.
Brilliant. That's a really good observation. Actually, I think there's some truth to that for sure.
Yeah.
What about the architecture? What, like, the built environment? How is that, like, compared to India? Like, because it must have been so different living in India and then coming here, and then you've just got row houses everywhere, barely any skyscrapers,
Yeah.
and everything's built around canals.
Yeah, I think actually a few days ago I was spending time with a friend who does hydraulic engineering at the Faculty of Civil here at Delft, and we were sitting next to a canal, and he literally said, "Man, people here in this country do not appreciate the fact that you sit below water level, but next to another water body, and you're still dry." You know, I think it shows a lot as to the ingenuity that this country has. They have so much land that's reclaimed, and somehow you can see that maybe other places would use this as a problem and say, okay, hence they're going through shit, but this country made it an advantage. Because they have this problem, they went and became the experts of how to deal with water and reclaiming land, and how they have some of the best companies in the world that do this. And you have a company from the Netherlands that built the Palm Islands in Dubai, because they're just so good with dealing with water, and so it's they used it well.
Yeah, true.
You know?
And so you also went to India like recently, right? So you saw the direct comparison between what the city there looks like and what the city here looks like.
Yeah, but I think it's hard to compare yourself to compare places to India, because everything scales with number. So the moment you have such a large population, your solutions are not solutions anymore. Your solutions are actually just still problems. You know, you can say that okay, you'll do all of these things, but every solution you see that you want to implement into a country like India or even China, for example, is that then you realize that a small change probably affects like 300 million people, and that's way more than the Netherlands. So it's never a small change.
Yeah, true.
And that's what's hard. But I know, for example, you have Mumbai and stuff, which are such important cities, and it floods every year because they're just not able to handle this rainflow. So and in that way, I think the Netherlands, they have their own ruling body just to deal with water. And so it shows that they take it really seriously. They have to.
True.
They're succeeding. So,
do you plan to stay here longer after your degree? What's the future for Pranav?
That's a big question. But I think one of the exciting things for me, a future would be that I don't really know at all. But I really like living in the Netherlands, but also the Netherlands is the first place I lived after India. So if I continue to conclude and say that I only want to stay here because it's so good here, then I'm being naive about other possibilities that might exist.
True.
So I definitely know that this country being so good has definitely taught me that I should also probably go to other places and see if it's as good. And
spread your wings a little more. See other places.
That's the hope.
Point.
That's the hope.
Yeah, you also did a minor in Lausanne, right? In Switzerland.
That was also really
cool.
I think you also have. Okay, you can say it's still Europe, so the culture shock is less and so on. But people still are fundamentally different even in Switzerland, you know,
Yeah.
and they have.
Absolutely.
I think one of the big differences was they're way more nationalistic. They're really Swiss oriented. Like you cannot say anything else. Any sentence every 2 minutes they would say yes, but we're Swiss, and one difference to the Netherlands would be, okay, you'll probably even have a Dutch guy say this, but a Dutch guy is just being brutally honest that he's Dutch and he doesn't give a shit about the rest of the world. But in the Swiss case, I saw a bit more pride and arrogance, you know? Arrogance that
So
they
you
are
are
just...
Swiss listeners at this point.
No, but...
They've just tuned out.
But yeah, I think to a certain extent, maybe
Yeah.
they've earned it because their economy is also so good.
Yeah, they're a very wealthy country after
They're
all.
very well
They're doing pretty well for themselves.
Really well, yeah.
Well, interesting to see the different cultures, even within Europe.
Yeah, no.
Well, there's a lot of different. There's a lot of different cultures in Europe. I mean, how much traveling have you done since you've been here? Like around Europe and.
Yeah, actually a few places to Spain, Italy, France,
Okay.
Germany a bit. Yeah, I think, but there's a lot of influx of people from all across the world actually to Europe, and I think with everything that's happening in the States and so on, it's probably just increasing the influx of
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
people to Europe, you know?
Europe's becoming more attractive, you think?
Yeah, Europe's becoming a way more attractive option, and I think as far as I know right now, Europe is handling it in a smart way because they're also letting all these people who are trying to escape war into the country, but also getting like a really elite class of good minds into all of these businesses and research institutes that are helping the country grow. For example, in the Netherlands itself, Rotterdam, Delft, Den Haag, these are the places that are most helping the economy.
Yeah.
Apparently, even if you look online in terms of how much GDP is being generated, it's these places. And you also see it's these places that are most ethnically diverse. Yeah. And it's not, it's not Leeuwarden at the north of the Netherlands or something.
Yeah, true.
So
There's a lot of
if it's done
opportunity
right, it genuinely helps with the
Yeah,
cause.
true. There's a lot of opportunity in letting people from other cultures join you. in your country.
And I think also people from somewhere else just know that maybe there's not inherently pressure, but there is more desire because they're coming all the way here. They're leaving their homes. They want to make it worth it. Nobody wants to come all this way, say they miss their family, but mess around all day and do nothing. You know, they want to put in the work, and I guess it helps everybody. Yeah.
Do you have any more questions, Tom?
I was just thinking about the general election.
Yeah, man. What happened there? Like, I think there's politics going bad everywhere. I think India,
I mean,
UK.
India at the moment. What?
Yeah,
what's happening
we
at the
have
moment?
this whole citizenship amendment bill. I'm not sure how many Indians will want to listen to me talk about it. I guess
Let's talk about it anyway. We've got some time still. So.
I'm not the expert on it, but they're just trying to draw more divide when it's not needed, and like you don't need to separate people. Like it's not going to help anybody if you just say, okay, you're one group, you're another group, and you're another group, and what are you going to put them and do them? Everybody lives in the same freaking country. Like how can you separate them now?
Yeah, or a union of different countries that is very strong together.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you leave a union like that? Yeah. Do you want to talk about how these election results turned out? Was this expected though? Was it expected to still?
It was sort of expected. So now that Boris has the majority, he can just push Brexit through easily within January, the next month. So it's going to happen.
Yeah, it is.
And I need to rethink my future.
Maybe. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah,
we'll walk with rethink.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But the Netherlands is benefiting a lot from this. I don't know if you guys have heard.
From Brexit.
Yeah. You have all of these companies that are now coming to Amsterdam and Den Haag. And as a matter of fact, I knew someone from EPFL who did exchange with me and was from Imperial. And now her whole family from the UK moved to Den Haag. Because apparently their whole parents' company moved to Den Haag. And she literally lives in Den Haag right now. And we're just like, what?
Just like that. Well, I'm glad we're helping them.
It's true.
It's a nice country.
Even Brussels is apparently really benefiting from this.
And Frankfurt as well, I think. And Berlin.
Yeah.
Because Yeah.
I think more than the fact that it's Brexit, it's that it was unstable for such a long time, and that does not help a company.
Yeah,
I'm sure after Brexit, everybody will come back or all of these things. But but maybe instability is not
future,
just something. So if you guys push it through by January and something is actually in place, even if it's Brexit, whatever, something's just fixed on paper.
Just
then more confidence for someone, you know, to settle down.
That's why companies are moving, because they just don't.
They don't know where it's going. It's not that they're against Brexit, probably. It's just they don't know.
Yeah,
and
it's affecting
worse.
their business.
Yeah.
I think we've recapped pretty much or touched upon all the episodes of this season. Literally we talked about bikes, we talked about food, we talked about housing.
It was a good summary.
Yeah, it was
for someone who's just joining the podcast now.
It was a good
summary.
Yeah. Good last episode of this season.
Rounded up, this is season 1, isn't it?
Season 1.
How was your season 1? Okay, so now for all the listeners, this is an interview of the people holding the podcast. I switched it around. Switched it around.
Ask us a question.
So, how was it when you guys first thought of this idea that you want to make a podcast? How is it different from that first idea to what it is now? Has it morphed?
Good question. Well, I think from like when we started hanging around lots together in this flat and eating nice food, we'd have good conversations that would flow. And I think it was me, yourself, and Ripley.
Yeah, true.
And I think what we're leaving, and I was like, we should start like a radio show or like a podcast, because Delft doesn't really have that, does it?
Yeah.
And then we just went for it. We were just like, okay, we'll buy the equipment, we'll set it up, we'll just do it, and see what happens. But it's actually way more difficult having a mic in front of your face.
Yeah, true.
To have that conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think.
Yeah, no, it's
I think you're pretty good at it though.
Yeah,
I feel like this mic induces conversations.
Yeah.
You feel like you want to talk because you assume someone's listening when actually probably nobody's listening right now.
Because we wouldn't have 30 listeners.
No. I mean, the moment...
Actually, let's cut this out. I don't want to let everyone know how much listeners we have.
No, but I mean, the moment you're recording, nobody's really listening, but you still pretend like the world is listening.
I know, but like you said, it induces conversation. We wouldn't be having this conversation about culture clashes normally, would we?
Yeah, true.
But
that's what also makes it fun to record. I think we have good conversations just by planning to have good conversation. You know?
What was some of the most difficult things that you guys didn't predict would be actually a challenge, but turned out to be?
The sustainability episode was definitely a challenge. Yeah,
that was meant to be our first episode, and now we haven't even included it.
Yeah, because
it's too difficult. There's too many areas to cover.
Yeah,
such a sensitive issue at the moment.
Yeah, you want to get it right.
I think it would be maybe a good idea for further volumes to have certain discussions and debates with more people about things that are more sensitive. Sustainability, I feel like if you make sure you have people with different views, you'll have so many conflicting ideas which might help. For a listener, it's nice to have conflicting ideas than have people just agree constantly to the same thing.
That's
we should get a guy from Shell here on the podcast.
Just take him down.
But so where do you? Okay, so this was season 1.
Yeah.
So what have you learned? Now where do you see season 2 going? How do you see this progressing?
Good question.
We want to promote this podcast more because we haven't really promoted it at all. We have
for the marketing.
we're really bad at marketing. But
we just expect people to just listen to it.
Yeah, recommend it to your friends, guys. This is like as far as marketing goes. This is all the marketing we have.
Yeah, we're gonna do way more. Just get out there more, so people we receive more feedback. And
it already helps to have some content that you want to market.
Yeah,
you know, if you go say you want to market and you have 2 episodes, everybody's gonna be like, what is it? Now that you have a whole volume and there's gonna be volume 2, volume 3, and so on.
We plan to have 1 season per quarter, so like it'll stop during exam period because then don't want to have to deal with it then.
But I think you can always make this podcast grow into something that
I think honestly I really enjoy having guests on. I think you've been our second guest, and I think it's been really good.
It's been really nice for me.
With our first guest, it was a really nice conversation as well with Ripley.
I think we'll be having more. We're probably gonna have to get another mic, but
I think so.
I think it's worth the investment.
True.
But so we've got a few episodes planned for season 2. But what issues do you reckon we should discuss for the next season?
That's a good. So okay, I think in sustainability you could talk about it, but maybe one of the things you could talk about was just the use of oil and so on. Like they say everybody. I think everybody is extremely just black and white. Everybody says stop oil production completely so that we can save the environment, and everybody else is like no, we need oil only, oil, and so on.
Yeah.
But there is more to it than just these two statements. There is a lot of middle ground that needs to be spoken about. So people are more, when they're having this conversation, they don't stick to the sides, but also really talk about what's going on. And
yes.
And I think another interesting topic would be just worldview. If you take up something, 2000 statistics, and see how many racist, for example, events were there. Like recently people drew on the Jewish cemetery, the symbol. So how these, they were in France or something. But for example, whether things like this have actually escalated from 2000 to now. And if you say escalated, you would be really surprised, because you would believe, as far as social media goes, everybody's trying to be together. Everybody's trying to support each other rather than drift away. But you have the other side where this is increasing rather than decreasing. And how is this difference
perceived?
Yes, how is this difference exactly? How is this difference existing?
Okay. Interesting.
Good questions to ask our guests or future guests. What their outlook on the world is and how it's going.
Actually, sorry, I think there's a third thing. Everybody undermines the power of just individual action to something. They say wastage, for example, clothes. But everybody says, okay, if I buy one more shirt, then how does it matter? And like so many other people are going to do it anyway. And I think this is fundamentally important to change. That any company that makes those clothes or anything else depends on the customer. So the moment you as a customer make a choice towards something, any other industry has to follow it. They have no choice but to follow it. And this has to happen in numbers. It cannot happen with one or two person and saying the other people saying, I'm not going to do it because why should I? But
I think that's definitely a good material for the sustainability episode, or maybe even like a separate episode to that.
Just a separate episode, not for sustainability, but just
individual
the strength
action.
of individual action. Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
Good.
Good
advice. All right. Well, I think we can wrap this episode up.
Let's get on to the legend of TU Delft.
Yeah.
Maybe we can. I think you've run out, right?
I think maybe I ran out.
Pranav, could you help us out?
Do you have any?
So every podcast episode we end it with a TU Delft legend.
Ooh.
So far we've had the X has cost X amount of money here.
X amount of money.
The architecture building that
burned down because of a coffee machine.
And the person that stole the Prometheus statue.
Prometheus statue.
I was gonna say that.
The popular one. Oh, actually, you know what? I think I remember one. I think. Wait, I haven't written down somewhere. That's also okay. That's also
the fire of the architecture faculty.
Yeah. Oh, the prof that led on the mic. That was another one.
Well, you've done that one.
Yeah, I've done that one.
Dead person in uni.
Yeah, okay, this is on my notes, okay? Apparently, it doesn't matter.
Drowning in lake.
Okay, yeah.
These are morbid.
No, there was one I was gonna say, but I don't have it written down. But it's the story behind the library, which, you know what, it's a perfect way to end the season, because it's also our symbol. It's the code, the meat, the code.
I love that.
Okay, so
wrap it up.
Do we want to do the jingle, or are you gonna edit that later?
Oh yeah, jingle.
Legends of TU Delft.
Alright,
that's actually pretty good.
As our last thank you.
Maybe the quality could be, but that's actually pretty good.
Thanks. So as for our last legend, that's the meaning behind the cone building of the library.
Which is our logo.
Which is then, our
if you haven't noticed.
It's a good logo, guys. But yeah, the idea behind it is that, you know how the flame of Prometheus is the symbol of TU Delft. And this cone is supposed to be the thing that Prometheus holds the flame in. I don't know what they call it, the torch? Yeah,
torch.
It's like the torch of Prometheus. And so the reason why it's upside down is because, below the cone is the library, and that's where the flame would be. So that's
Fire
like
starts.
So it's like the flame, which is symbolizes the knowledge,
Is for the students.
It's coming from the cone like into the minds of the students, basically, because
It's beautiful
yeah.
though, actually.
Yeah, so that's
actually really
that is the story behind why.
I heard if you
libraries
stand
become-
right in the center of the cone, then it's really hot.
I don't know.
That was a bad joke.
Yeah.
Oh.
For all the listeners who wanted a bad joke at the end.
Well, thank you very much, Pranav. I think this was
thank
you
Thank you
were
for having me. I hope to be on this podcast.
Yeah,
again.
We'll see you again in the future.
for sure. You've been a good guest. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Been good host.
Well,
This was the Cone Podcast.
yeah. See you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.